Let's go to the woods.
All right.
How you can help support the musicians featured in this year's online West Coast Ragtime Festival. After West Coast Ragtime Society recovers the production costs of this year's festival, the remaining donations received will support the musicians featured all weekend. There are 3 ways for you to donate to West Coast Ragtime Society. First, you can donate to us using PayPal. You can get there from the West Coast Ragtime Festival donation page displayed here. Or by going to the festival's page on PayPal. You can also make a donation to us by credit card. Please call 415-891-3096 to donate using a credit card. Our festival staff is available throughout the weekend, during our live broadcasts, in between our broadcasts, and 1 hour after our live broadcasts to accept credit card donations over the phone. That's Friday, November 19th, 3 to 9 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, the 20th and 21st, noon to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Lastly, you can also mail us a donation by check at the address displayed here, West Coast Ragtime Society, P.O. Box 13346, Sacramento, California, 95813. All this information is also available on the Facebook and YouTube page for each concert. We greatly appreciate all your support. Good evening, everyone. I'm Virginia Tishner, Festival Director for the West Coast Ragtime Festival. For those of you joining us for the first time, we're starting momentarily with the second concert of our online festival, the Friday Evening Concert, broadcasting on Friday, November 19th, 2021. Sit back and enjoy these amazing performers. Along with a great lineup of performers, we are delighted to present our Master of Ceremonies for this show, Richard Dowling. Take it away, Richard.
Good evening, and welcome to the Friday night West Coast Ragtime Festival concert. I'm your host, Richard Dowling, and tonight we have 6 wonderful sets for you. To kick it off, Charlie Judkins and Miss Maybell, my fellow New Yorkers, are going to perform 5 tunes for you with string bass and saxophone accompaniment, and even a little washboard and a train whistle thrown in. Let's have some fun. Enjoy.
Here's a good old ragtime song about New Orleans written back in 1912, and it was originally featured by Clarice Vance, although she never recorded it, which is why we chose to feature it. Down in Dear Old New Orleans by Young, Conrad, and Whidden.
We're steaming from New York Bay.
good old ragtime tune from 1899, right at the beginning of the era, by Gene Jefferson and William Penn. It was republished in 1901, as you can see by this edition, when Miss Clarice Vance featured it on the stage. And it's called Bye Bye My Babykins, Bye Bye.
I was so happy, never had no trouble with my gal. And though other folks were having lots of worry, I was certain sure about myself. But she told me that she'd found another lover, so she packed her trunk and went away. But I love her although she dum-dum shook me, and to her this I did say, bye-bye my baby kids, bye-bye, you is a-leavin' me now, but I ain't gonna hold you, ain't gonna raise no row. Well honey, you're leaving a good shake it and honest old pal. I loves you, but you turn me loose, so bye-bye my babykins gal.
This next number is a lovely little folk rag instrumental from 1898, published in Nashville, Tennessee, written by Thomas Brody, and it's called Mandy's Broadway Stroll. And I was inspired to learn it because two of my heroes, Bob Wright and Trevor Tishner, both recorded this back in the 1970s. little number is a lovely waltz from 1919 by Ballard MacDonald and Robert King, and it's called Beautiful Ohio. And we were inspired to learn it by the great recording made by Henry Burr for Columbia Records that same year. Now we've got a great number from 1910 by Albert von Tilzer and Junie McCree that we were influenced to learn from a recording made by the great Sophie Tucker, and it's called Put Your Arms Around Me, Honey, Hold Me Tight. And on this one we've got Colin Hancock on C melody sax and Brian Nalepka on bass and backing vocals.
Baby,
Thomas Roberts is truly a master of music, both as a performer and certainly as a composer. Here he performs two of his own compositions. They are intensely personal, lyrical, and expressive.
The piece will be Mississippi Brown Eyes from 1989, an ambitious ragtime-based composition that combines some very earthy folk ragtime elements with some dynamic and extremely personal romantic ones. You'll see how the folkish flavor dominates the first half, and increasingly that's left behind in the second half, moving toward this very dramatic conclusion. I ended up dedicating this piece to Teresa, my wife, who I would marry years later, but who I had known many years earlier. Here then, from 1989, is my Mississippi Brown Eyes. This work is not only my most recent, but my latest commissioned piece. And it's a piece in which I've invested a lot of affectionate focus and a confessional mode, in a sense, though that shouldn't be taken as too literally or tangibly. But the atmosphere that I wanted for this work, which is called Mary's Sewing Room, became such an inviting world to enter and to work with for me that I've allowed this to take many months, gradually writing itself. I began it just before 2020 was over, and now it's essentially finished. A few details are still being decided, but this is very much ready for presentation. This is a virtual premiere. It was commissioned by my friend Douglas Carnegie up on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, as a surprise gift for his wife, Mary Martin, who is just now learning of its existence, hopefully. Mary's Sewing Room. Doug told me that Mary had spent a great deal of time in her sewing room, making this more and more a part of her life, making literally hundreds of masks for people in the pandemic, and other things. All of which spoke to me. I knew that this atmosphere of the fabrics was one that I would be very naturally suited to embrace. So this intimate realm of textiles and solitude and ongoing aloneness at the service of a thoughtful, affectionate purpose is the backdrop of this work. It's a neo-romantic work. There's very little syncopation in the first half. There's increasing syncopation as it moves into the second half. It owes more to my intrigue with combining overtly serious romantic elements with undercurrents of pop song personality and even quasi-quotational allusions to popular song in the second half especially. So that's what's happening here with this neo-romantic work of mine, which I'm very happy to present now, commissioned by Douglas Carnegie for his wife, Mary Martin. This is my Mary's Sewing Room.
Next up, Squeek Steele. We love her. She's got a wonderful set of 6 tunes by all female composers. What a treat.
This rag is called The Dance of the Hoo-Hoo, published in 1898 by Emma Sukert. The hoo-hoo refers to a club of forest rangers. This rag is called the Kentucky Rag. It was written and published in 1898 by Verdi Carnes. This rag is called the Redhead Rag by Irene Franklin and Bert Greene. It was published in 1910 and is one of my favorites because of the circle of fifths progression in this rag. Red Peppers by Imogene Giles, also published in 1907. That Cherry Rag by Edna Chapel-Tiff was published in 1914. A really hot rag, it says in the program notes. This is called Paprika by Luella Lockwood.
Yet another maestro of music, Maestro Andrew Greene, conductor and founder of the Peachering Ragtime Society Orchestra. He's also a very fine pianist and performs for us now.
Hey there, folks. My name's Andrew Greene, and I'm so happy to be performing as part of the West Coast Ragtime Festival's 2021 online festival. For those who don't know me, I'm the man behind the camera who does all of the editing work for our different streams here. So, hi there. Nice to finally meet you in person. You may also remember me from Peachering Stage and Screen Spectacular, which we featured as part of last year's West Coast set. Now, you get to see me perform on piano. Now, many of you have probably never had the opportunity to meet me before in person at whether the past festivals or virtually, so I'll give myself a brief introduction. I've been playing ragtime for about 20 years now, and I got interested when I was about 10 years old. At that time, my piano teacher was having me perform the works of Mozart, Chopin, Bach, all of the greats, and I hated it. And I decided, well, I'm getting fed up, I might just stop playing the piano, which I had been playing since I was 4 years old. And so my piano teacher, as a reward for completing one more Chopin etude, decided, okay, we're going to give you a fun piece of music to play, and then we're going to go back to this other stuff that we've been doing. And that piece was Scott Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag. And that's what got me onto this ragtime thing 20 years ago. So I'm going to play it for you now. Scott Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag. The Maple Leaf Rag from 1899. It's hard for a kid that young not to be enthralled with Maple Leaf and, of course, the music of Scott Joplin. And for a while, that's all I really played was Joplin's music. I went home from that first piano lesson with my teacher and immediately asked my mother, well, what other pieces do you have by this Joplin fellow? And, of course, she had a copy of The Entertainer, so I started learning that. And slowly but surely, I started to dive into more ragtime books, the Dover publications of Scott Joplin's piano rags, and so on. And there was one piece of music that really stuck out to me. It was from the year 1901, and it was the Peachering Rag. And as I said, you may know me from leading the Peachering Ragtime Society Orchestra, And of course, that piece has always been a favorite of mine and has obviously stuck with me over these past many decades. So I'm going to play it for you now. Scott Joplin's Peacherine Rag. The Peacherine Rag by Scott Joplin. And to think, that very same year in 1901, when this piece came out, the American Federation of Musicians, the AFM, called the sort of music that you're hearing on today's program, ragtime, the perils of the end of Western civilization. And here we are, well over 100 years later, still mostly intact. Ragtime must be good for you, like eating your vegetables and exercising and all of that good stuff. Well, from ragtime, of course, I started to explore other genres of music within that idiom, and of course, discovered novelty piano. And of course, it's sort of a rite of passage that every pianist one day has to learn the music of Zez Confrey. And Confrey's music is, of course, fantastic, the novelty style. And I'm going to play for you one of his best. It's from 1921, and it's called Kitten on the Keys. another big thing that's been an impact in my life, for those who don't know me, has been trains. And I've been a big fan of steam railroading and heritage railroading all over the U.S., basically since the time I was born. And my grandfather would take me all over the country to ride different trains, and it was a big influence on my life. And of course, as part of that, I would watch different train shows. And one of the big ones that I watched as a kid was Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. Big influence on myself, and I know several other ragtimers' lives. And naturally, over time, I realized that the theme music for this and a lot of other children's programming was influenced in ragtime. And I still now am in trains, and so I figured it'd be appropriate for you to play that original theme that kind of got me hooked on ragtime before we even knew it. So here is the theme song to Thomas the Tank Engine. Well, that piece certainly chugged right along, didn't it? So I'm now going to end my set with another piece of railroad-themed pieces of music, and this one by Scott Joplin. Now, some of you may know that I've had a major interest in railroading, as we just talked about, but I've even taken it a step further. I am now a brakeman with the East Broadtop Railroad up in central Pennsylvania. It's actually the home of the Central PA Ragtime and American Music Festival as well, up at the East Broadtop in Rock Hill Furnace, PA. We hope you'll join us for next year's festival, which will be in person September 23rd through 25th, 2022. We'll have a lot of great events like train rides behind steam trains, trolley rides, dancing, dinner, silent movies, all sorts of great stuff. Check out our website at rockhillragtime.com for more information. I serve as festival director for that event, and I hope you'll join us up there. Now, because I work for the railroad and because of all that tie, I figured it'd be great to play a piece by Scott Joplin, The Great Crush Collision March. Joplin wrote this after being influenced by an event that happened in the new town of Crush, Texas back in 1896. One day, George Crush decided to stage a whole train crash for the audience to enjoy. That was entertainment back then. You didn't have television, you didn't have the radio, you certainly didn't have Facebook or YouTube, but you would then have these different ways to entertain them. So, of course, down in Crush, Texas, they decided to run two steam engines right at each other and make a big spectacle of it. They made a huge event. Thousands of people showed up. The trains crashed. Splintered wood and iron went everywhere. People got hurt and killed, and that was entertainment. So, to end my set, I figured it'd be appropriate if I don my actual brakeman cap and play for you The Crush Collision March by Scott Joplin. Thank you so much.
Next up, festival favorite and multi-talented musician Michael Chisholm. He's joined here by his friend and pianist Kevin Gunia, one of the new members of our ragtime family. Kevin is a graduate student in composition at Colorado University in Boulder. They perform 4 duets together, and for you baseball fans, Kevin performs one of his own compositions solo that features an extraordinary amount of syncopation. Keep your eyes peeled for cameo appearances by ragtime-loving kitty cats.
In 1901, Neil Murray composed a piece called Hiawatha, which sparked a musical craze that swept the nation until 1910. This was the Indian intermezzo craze, or pieces designed to sound Native American in nature. They often featured tom-tom effects in the left hand and pseudo-Indian sounding melodies. In 1907, the biggest hit of the Indian intermezzos was written by the great Carey Mills, who gave us At a Georgia Camp Meeting. This is a number called Red Wing that everyone should know and love very much. The arrangement that we're playing is one that I did, and I condensed it from a period orchestration of the piece. So from 1907, here's Carey Mills' Red Wing.
I started taking composition lessons when I was 13 years old, and one of my very first assignments was to write 6 little tunes which I could potentially expand into larger works. The next piece you'll hear is one of those tunes, which I revised last year and was arranged by my dear friend Michael Chisholm for piano 4 hands. This is Peach Wine Rag. this year, I had the idea of writing a baseball-themed rag. As I was going through the list of baseball players and baseball topics in my head, the name Cy Young stuck out to me. Cy Young was a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox at the turn of the 20th century, and given when he was famous, I thought he'd be the perfect subject for a piece of ragtime. This piece is dedicated to my dad, who I am sure is the biggest baseball fan out there, and knows every fact about baseball and its players. This is Cy Young Rag.
Jack and Chris Bradshaw were gracious enough to share their entire four-hand piano duet library with us, and we've had so much fun learning to play several of these pieces. This one is one of the earliest pieces ever written containing the word rag in the title, signifying that it was a composition in ragtime. This dates from 1897 by Theodore Northrup, titled Louisiana Rag. Jack is a marvelous arranger and does some very inventive things in his arrangements, and this one features some fun acrobatics we think you guys are going to enjoy. So from 1897, here is Louisiana Rag. This next one is one of Kevin and I's favorite pieces to play together. It was written in 1905 by a young lady named Irene Giblin. It's titled Chicken Chowder. At the time Irene Giblin wrote this, she was only 16 years old and was working as a sheet music demonstrator at the Grand Leader department store in downtown St. Louis. This was her very first ever published rag and was her biggest seller. This is also an arrangement done up by Jack Bradshaw, and we thank him very much for sharing the score with us. So from 1905, here's Irene Giblin's Chicken Chowder.
And for our grand finale tonight, we have Ivory and Gold, that dynamic duo of Jeff and Anne Barnhart. You know, they always perform with an incredible amount of energy, going 100 miles an hour. But this is the first time I've actually seen them run out of gas. Don't worry, they're soon back on the road, so fasten your seatbelts. Here we go.
Here's a piece from 1910, a rag called the Gasoline Rag. It has so much fun in it that we decided we would create a scenario, make it a programmatic piece. And the way to do that is to take you on a journey in an old jalopy. Of course, it was brand new back then.
That's right.
I'm talking about the Ford Model T.
Tin Lizzie.
That's right, the Tin Lizzie. I have my own Platinum Annie. I'm not going to call her
boy.
Tin. So what we thought to set the stage, you know, we have so many conveniences now in modern cars. What about the autos of yesteryear? What sorts of things were they concerned of in the manuals? We happen to have a Ford manual from 1910. So let's take a look and see what we can learn. Here are some safety tips from 1910. Your engine is overheated if steam rises when you spit on it.
True.
To remove dirt and water from gas, strain it through a chamois cloth.
Okay.
Dump a few oatmeal flakes into a leaking radiator. They will swell and fill the hole. There's a footnote. In emergencies, dried horse manure will also work and is usually available. Chewing gum will mend a leaky fuel line. Pump a mixture of chopped feathers and hot molasses into a worn tire to extend its life. Footnote 2. Messy in case of a blowout. Guns are no longer needed. Footnote 3. Except in some far western states. A windshield rubbed with sliced onion will stay clear for days. We ought to try that one. Perhaps we all should. The components might be different, though, with the windscreens from 1910 versus now.
Yes.
This is the most important one. A traveler's emergency equipment kit from 1910 should include rubber lap robe, goggles, tow rope, pump, tire patching kit, canvas bucket, cans of gas and oil, block and tackle, compass, tire chain, small tent, and sleeping bags.
Good Lord.
That's just to go to the corner store. Finally, please be careful because some states actually have speed limits.
Uh-oh.
Now we better be careful because this baby goes almost up to 25 miles an hour, as long as there's no headwind. Here we go. What a beautiful day. Oh, listen to those birds. Uh-oh, here comes the hill. Down we go. Hey there. This is amazing. Oh yeah. Hey, what's that funny sound? What do you mean did I put gas in the tank? I thought you did. Didn't you? Oh no. We're lost. Oh, wait a minute. No, we're not. I saw a gas station 10 miles back. I'll see you in about 10 hours. Here we go. And we just passed a snail. Was anyone hurt? Wow, that was a doozy. Anne's under the hood right now trying to fix the thing so we can keep going, but in the meantime, maybe I'll do something for you on my own. I've always been a fan of Jelly Roll Morton's interpretations of ragtime. In the Library of Congress, he interpreted both the Maple Leaf Rag in New Orleans style, jelly style, and also did the original rags in a later recording. And yeah, I thought, wouldn't it have been great if he had played more of those? I'm sure he did, but if he had recorded more of those. So I'm going to just improvise a jellified version of Swipe Single. We'll see where we go. You okay, dear?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Everything's all right.
Go ahead, play.
In addition to entertaining, we find it very important to educate as well. We like to offer lessons, morals perhaps, things to watch out for, maxims to live by. And this next one certainly falls into all of those categories. It's a very important lesson for all of us guys. You got to see your mama every night, or you can't see mama at all.
Nope.
Anne will elucidate.
I will. Daddy dear, listen here. Mama's feeling blue. I don't see much of you, and that will never do. Once a week, Mama's cheek gets a kiss or two. I'm not showing you the door, but I must lay down the law. You gotta see your mama every night, or you can't see mama at all. You gotta kiss mama, treat her right, or she won't be home when you call. I don't want the kind of man who works on the installment plan. You gotta see your mama every night, or you can't see mama at all. Play it for me, baby, and we'll see what you all got.
I'm scared.
That's nice. Could you do that again?
Anything you want, dear.
Monday night I sat alone. Tuesday night ya didn't phone. Wednesday night you didn't call. And on Thursday night the same old stall. Friday night you dodged my path. Saturday night you took your bath. Sunday night you called on me, but you brought your wife for company. You gotta see your mama every night, or you can't see mama at all. You gotta kiss mama, treat her right, or she won't be home when you call. I don't want the kind of chic who does his chicken once a week. You gotta see your mama every night, or you can't see mama at all. Yes, you can see mama oh no.
This tune from 1921 originated in a show in London. It soon thereafter came over to our shores, and by the time it landed, every early jazz band and hot ragtime pianist was stomping down on Limehouse blues. There's no blues in it, except perhaps what you see us wearing, but they put that on there maybe to sell some more copies of sheet music. It's a great tune. It goes like this.
The musicians performing in the 2021 virtual West Coast Ragtime Festival are being compensated solely by donations from viewers like you. After recovering production costs, all of the remaining donations received this weekend will go directly to the musicians. You can donate to the West Coast Ragtime Society in 3 ways. Online via PayPal through the festival's website, or directly through PayPal at either of the 2 web addresses you see displayed here. You may also make a donation by credit card over the phone. Just call 415-891-3096. Again, 415-891-3096. Festival staff members are available throughout the weekend to take your call during and in between our live broadcasts and for an hour afterwards. If you prefer, you can simply mail a check to the Ragtime Society's address, also displayed here. Don't worry, all this information is also available on the Facebook and YouTube pages for each concert. Thanks very, very much for your support. We really appreciate it. And now, back to the music.
We hope you've enjoyed day 1 of the 35th Annual Online West Coast Ragtime Festival. We have another 2 days of fantastic concert programs to enjoy, so rest up for more fun tomorrow and Sunday. See you tomorrow, Saturday, November 20th, for 3 more concert programs. Our complete festival schedule can be found on our website at the URL here. Good night. Reminder that Bob Gonzalez is still manning the phone to accept your credit card donations for another hour or so. See you tomorrow.